Welcome to On the Chain. This is Chip here, solo again. Jeff is not going to be joining us, but he will be back on Wednesday evening. He had actually some delays with his flight, which means he's going to miss his next flight. Never any good, especially when you have a long 15, 16-hour flight coming back from Asia. So that's going to be something he's going to have to work with, but hopefully he'll be adjusted by the time zone by the time that happens. We have XAO DAO. I'm going to talk a little bit about XAO DAO, a little bit about the space that's coming up tomorrow, which I will be co-hosting with Jenna X, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, Ripple's charter bank license facing some opposition. Turns out that a 7-page detailed sort of a critique from a team of so-called experts are in disagreement. They're raising questions and blah, blah, blah. We've heard this all before. Ivy League universities betting big on Bitcoin. Harvard and Brown are investing in a big way. We also have Ripple's XRP Ledger shows impressive growth, fastest increase in real-world assets compared to almost any other blockchain. This is really interesting to see and also great for the entire ecosystem. We have a historic peace deal between Armenia and Azerbaijan under President Trump's leadership. Finally, with some geopolitics shifts, we'll be talking about some power moves, including some of what Trump's been up to and what the week we've had so far. So if you guys are ready, let's get this kicked off. Are you guys ready to do this? All right, let's do this. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome to On the Chain, everybody. Drop where you're coming in from. Tell us where you're coming in from. E4 Rockin' was #1 in here. Art on the Lake. I'd say that 5 times fast. Art on the Lake is coming here as well. And look, I'm looking at the Yeti. There's already 2 Yeti responses. Of course, Art was first there. Beautiful. Got Mike coming in. Crypto Whelp. Greetings from Belgium, as usual. Central Florida, of course. And then Ed is, don't forget to hit the like. Absolutely, Ed. Always tell people to hit that like button. It's just so important. So important. We have to do it. Got to tickle that algorithm every once in a while. Got the Yetis flowing in. El Paso, Texas. Charles Vidal Jr. coming in from El Paso, right on the border. That's a border town, right? El Paso. I think it's right on the border. Pretty sure it is. You got Eyes Wine in here with the Yeti. We got 3 Yetis already. That's something. That is certainly something right there. On the porch in Atlanta. There you go. That's very cool. Probably lighting up a smoke or 2, maybe a drinky poo. You never know. Sure, I know how this works. Yes, sir. Right on the border town. That's right. I knew it. Know my geography. Some of it anyway, not all of it, but some of it. Every once in a while, I have a moment of clarity. Also, check this out. One Eye Willie coming in from New York City. That is the liberal capital of the world. That's Chicago and LA and San Francisco. It's hard to tell exactly which one gets the bragging rights. They're all pretty much the same. Yeah, you're allowed to. Well, let's see. Are you allowed to play Yeti? I don't know. Yeah, I guess you are. You're not restricted. Thing was, I think you won yesterday and you were away or something like that. I don't remember what it was. Something like that. The only rule we have is if you can't win within a 30-day period. That's it. That's the rule. So if you won within 30 days, we give somebody else a chance to sort of, kind of like come together with that. So that's kind of what we do there. Just to kind of keep it a little bit, because some people win more than others. Of course, I was glad to see Joe Buddy finally getting the win. I know he was boycotting it for a while, wasn't playing, but we do have a cool Yeti that will pop up here in a little bit. Blue Tribe this time, so we'll talk a little bit about that in just a little bit. And, great way to start off the week. It's been a lot going on. So I wanted to start off here. So, guys, I don't know what you guys are doing tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know what time that is. Probably might be really early morning for a lot of you coming in from, let's say, Belgium, or I don't know exactly what it is, or super late in the morning. But I'm going to be hosting it along with Jenna X. We're going to be hosting this. We're going to have on the 2 founders of the XAO DAO. That's none other than Fabio Marzella. Fabio hails from Australia. And then we have Santiago Velez, who's from up in Boston, Massachusetts. And they'll be talking about this. Getting a lot of questions about the XAO DAO and exactly what it's going to be launching pretty soon, which is pretty exciting. But again, there hasn't really been a DAO. This one is is pretty much buttoned up. It's learned a lot from maybe some of the mistakes that some of the other XAO DAOs have made out there. So it's buttoned up when it comes to legal. It's done in a good legal fashion, and also given a voice to the XRP community in terms of, there could be some profit sharing involved. It's a $10 one-time fee. You pay $10 in equivalent of XRP, depending on what XRP is doing that day. But it's just $10 to go ahead and join the XAO DAO. And we'll be fielding questions tomorrow. A lot of people, it's our second space. First one was very, very good, amazing questions coming in. But also I invite you to sort of read, go to XAO DAO and follow it. I'm going to go ahead and click through and give you guys if you guys are an X, formerly known as Twitter, go ahead and give it a follow. But there it is right there. But you can learn a little bit about it. And right on the very top, talks a little bit, there's an eight panel thread, which explains exactly how to activate and what the XAO DAO is a little bit about. So it's a nice little panel. We've gone through it here before, so I'm not going to repeat it, but guys, I would recommend you go do that, go follow. Also too, there is, if you go to the XAO DAO, XAODAO.io, which I will also put there, best thing you can do right now is put your email in here, throw your email in there, right here, click in there, throw your email. Again, it's not going to be spam or anything like that, but it's just a wait list. And what's going to happen is when this goes live, you're going to get notified that it is live, and you can learn a little bit more about how, what the next steps are. But it'll probably be launching late August, early September. So we'll be doing that. So there it is. As John Doe says, well worth it. Seriously, I thought about it, and the value for being a member is an easy choice. It is a pretty easy choice. What's up, Crypto G? On here, the XAO DAO, Jenna X. Yeah, Jenna's great. She'll be fantastic. And she has a really great, she has a very good interview coming up with, let me see if I can pull this up here in the heat of the moment. I know I reposted it on X, but let me pull this up too. So I wanted to shout out her interview coming up. Let me go ahead and pull it up on my profile. I know I reposted it. Let's see. Yeah, this is it right here. So let's take a look at this. So she's going to be interviewing Hugo Filion, from co-founder of and CEO of Flare Networks, along with co-founder of XAO DAO, Santiago Velez. Should be a really awesome interview. That's coming up this Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So I think that won't be too late for some of you. It might just be in the evening. So if you do the math on that, 10, 12 hours later, 12 hours later would be 10 p.m. your time. So depending on where you are located, but this is sure to be a great, I'm looking forward to this because you got two amazing people on this, two superstars in my opinion. And Hugo's done an amazing job with Flare. So, and if you go look at Jenna X's account, you can post some questions down there and see if she will ask those as well. So there you go. There you have it. So that's all I wanted to start out with tonight, or this morning, whatever. I talked a little bit about this, but this is really impressive right here. Check this out. You've got the growth of the XRP Ledger, fastest increase in real world assets compared to any other blockchain, driven by Ripple's RLUSD. Just the beginning here. And of course, this is none other than Phil Kwok. He's one of the co-founders from EZA, I should say. And then here we go. There it is right there. Check that out. There's the XRP Ledger. You have total value, 243 million, a 32% increase. That's pretty incredible. So you can see it's gaining a lot of popularity. Of course, real world assets are growing, but again, it's catching up big time. $243 million in total value right now. Before you know it, that'll be well over $1 trillion. So that's pretty phenomenal. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But we've talked about, the real world assets being tokenized on the XRP Ledger. There's a lot of people that have flooded the ledger recently that have really kind of dug in and want to use it. So, and I expect that to continue that trend. But I mean, we as we get closer to 2030, over the next 5 years, you're going to see trillions of dollars of tokenized all kinds of stuff. And speaking of tokenization, Ripple put this post up very recently. I think it was a day or two ago. But they started talking about tokenization, that it's not necessarily just a trend, but it really is reshaping what global finance is. And here are some real world assets moving on chain. They have secure institutional grade custody across regions. So things like treasuries and money market funds in the EU and the USA, agricultural receivables expanding rural access in Latin America, Then there's trade finance and structured lending in Southeast Asia. And then there's real estate tokenization with Control Alt and Land Department on the XRPL. And this is just like a handful of what's going to be. And there's probably going to be companies out there tokenizing stuff we haven't even thought about. But everything from real estate to agriculture to receivables, treasuries, it's pretty exciting. So there's a lot of different type of use cases. They put together this article right here. Let's see. Let me go ahead and zoom on this. So talking about the global wave of tokenization, North America and Europe, talking about the tokenized treasuries. That's with DZ Bank, for example, launched a digital custody offering crypto securities and tokenized bonds to enhance capital market efficiencies. Got Latin America with the securitized agricultural receivables. They're improving rural credit and financial inclusion. Over in Southeast Asia, the receivables for trade and structured lending are streamlining the chain finance. And then in the Middle East, you got the growth of tokenized real estate driven by forward-thinking regulators like that of Dubai. And I love that, how they snuck that little line on there. Driven by forward-thinking regulators, and this is true. I mean, Dubai has some of the best probably ground rules for everything, including crypto, but it really is inclusive. And the U.S. will get there. We're just a little bit behind. Other countries have done a great job. Singapore, Australia is really, also the UK has done a lot in that sort of region. And so they're talking about by 2033, they're thinking the value of these real world tokenized assets could be projected to reach about 19 trillion. It's funny because I kind of see that number always kind of rising. And I have a feeling that maybe they're underestimating, but again, it's hard to say what's going to happen over 5 years. And tokenized client assets like real estate and equities alone could be over 3.7 trillion and 2 trillion respectively. So the shift isn't necessarily happening in isolation, and it really does reflect those changing attitudes among the traditional institutions. And a big part of that is crypto legislation is exactly why they can think differently and think bigger. So there's a huge reason why that's taking place. And again, when Trump declared he wants the U.S. to be among the leader in innovation when it comes to crypto, he meant it. And we're starting to see that legislation. We had the Genius Bill go, and then right now, Congress is in recess. But when they come back, there's a lot more to do when it comes to crypto itself, not just stable coins. But you have Colombia working with the Ministry of Information and Communications to tokenize land ownership. Hong Kong, they're partnered with Fubon Bank to collateralize property-backed lending. In Dubai, working with Control Alt to tokenize title deeds. And so you think about almost every aspect of real estate, whether it's the deeds, whether it's the actual sale, everything can happen on the blockchain. And I would imagine too that if you have Bitcoin, you have Ethereum, you have any Cardano, XRP, whatever it is, you're not going to necessarily need that off ramp. You're like, well, how am I going to? No, you don't. You'll purchase it in the native asset. And that's where we're really going to go. I mean, we were always thinking legacy, like, oh, I got to transfer it to USD. I got to transfer it to Euro. I got to transfer it to Australian dollar. Not necessarily. I have a feeling that we're going to get to the point of where you're going to just be able to purchase it right out in that asset. So you're not going to have that necessary tax implication of transferring it to the actual, whatever the currency of the country you live in, and then being sort of from that point of view, having that sort of tax event and then going ahead and having to purchase with it. You'll be able to purchase direct. So building on Ripple's presence in the Middle East, companies recently announced strategic partner with Control Alt. That's that leading tokenization infrastructure platform. And they're going to also be using Ripple Custody, and that's going to support the DLD's real estate tokenization project. So you can see why it was so amazing for Ripple to sort of have that all of the things that an institution wants, and custody is a big important part of it. And especially if you can be a one-stop shop, you could do the real world asset tokenization. You got the XRPL, and then also you can have the custody side of the house as well. So it's very good. All the regular things we're looking at: secure, regulated, transparent, scalable, trusted. It's fantastic. So it all comes down to one thing: it's innovation. Seems to be moving at a breakneck pace right now, so I'm really happy to hear that. Jeff is on his way back from Korea, but his plane got delayed, and that's part of what the issue is. So he got a little bit delayed, and it probably missed his next flight. I tried to check in with him. I haven't heard from him. I know he's got I know he has. He's got to be dead tired too. It's a long flight, 15 or 16 hours. Long, long. So yeah, this is another great point. Art, say goodbye to the 4-year crypto cycle for XRP when it takes off. 100%. And I also think the cycle that we've had, when we think about the halving for Bitcoin, and a lot of the altcoins follow what happens with Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up, altcoins go up. Bitcoin goes down, altcoins. What we're starting to see is more separation happening there, and a lot of it has to do once we get regulation, and a lot of countries have already had regulation, but a lot of it. A lot of it's driven here in the U.S. Can set the sort of pace for it. But once we get real, I mean, I like the new chair is pro crypto, and we're going to come up with crypto rules, and we're looking at crypto different. That's a great story. Now, if you think that when the other side was in power and they were saying we hate crypto and we're going to enforce the rules the way we think they work, there isn't really anything that can regulate crypto right now because the rules are not clear. And so we're going to have the new guy interpret the rules so that it benefits crypto. Wrong. The only way to do that, and I don't know why people lose sight of this, the only way to do that is Congress passing legislation. The SEC will be not that involved in crypto. It's going to be the CFTC, which is going to be the bigger regulator. The only time the SEC is going to get involved is if it's a security. And depending on how the legislation goes, that may be more infrequent, right? So they can make it any way they want, and they can also transform the way crypto is seen versus, will it go back to the 1947 Howey test? Not necessarily. So depending on what legislation gets passed, the SEC, I don't see them that involved in crypto. I do see the CFTC being the main regulator of crypto, and we'll have to see how that pans out. But really, only if it's a security, and the way the legislation, again, it can change, but the way, I interpret the legislation as written, it will be largely put out there, and it's going to change slightly. And that's why the CFTC is going to be the big regulator. It'll be interesting to see what's added and in what instance does it become a security. And that's really what it came down to the Ripple suit, is that the reason a lot of the headlines were partial victory, the partial victory was because Ripple sold to institution, they got banged for selling securities on being registered, right? That's based on interpretation of the 33 and 34 laws on the books, the 1947 laws on the books, right? Interpreting and trying to fit something that's so new. You think anybody in the 1930s thought about digital assets? You even think they would know what digital was? It's ridiculous and ponderous to me that we would even think that this would be a thing, right? So we got to kind of sit back and wait and see what's going to happen. That's what we got to do. So moving right along here, I wanted to talk a little bit about Ripple getting this opposition. This is so laughable. So they have a 7-page opposition from a team of, credit experts. We always hear a lot about the experts. The experts are wrong on almost anything. But was a story that appeared in the Bitcoinist, and thousands of ads everywhere. So they say that the Ripple's pursuit of a U.S. charter bank license hit a significant hurdle after the independent community of Bankers America. Now, are any one of you surprised that the independent community of Bankers of America are opposed to a company like Ripple, who's working with the largest institutions out there with Hidden Road? They have Ripple custody. They can do cross-border payments. Geez, why would a bank? Do you think a bank might find a little bit threatening to them? So they filed this detailed opposition with the U.S. Officer of the Comptroller, the OCC. The 7-page letter warns that if Ripple's planned stablecoin operations through Ripple National Trust Bank, which if they got the license, could sidestep traditional banking regulations. Oh no. Raising compliance and consumer concerns. No. This is the magic word. Could sidestep traditional banking regulations. What are they really worried about? They're worried about the competition. And they're worried about when this happens with Ripple, other companies. So what's going to happen is banks are going to become less and less important, especially now. What they've got wrong here is Ripple is going to be, their banking charter license is very different. It's not on opening a bank that you and I can go to. It's going to be institution only. But if you think about banks, that's where they make a significant amount of their money. So it says reports from XRP Bank and Ripple's ambitions to secure a federally chartered trust bank and its proposed subsidiary, RNTB, have met sharp resistance. The ICBA's chief opposition centers on Ripple's proposed use of RNTB to manage reserves for its planned stablecoin and provide associated fiduciary services, while a national trust bank legally barred from taking deposits. ICBA argues that if Ripple USD could mimic the function of deposits, potentially allowing Ripple to bypass established banking regulations. Oh no. It's so funny because what banking regulations? And banking regulations for what? You're talking about a stable coin that has legislation already passed in the Genius Act. It was already passed. It's already part of law. This is just competition. Letter further accuses Ripple and XRP. I don't know how you accuse XRP of something. But of having a history of non-compliance with anti-money laundering requirements and securities laws, despite crypto payments company getting illegal. Okay, so back in 2015, what they may be talking about is that, the CFTC did issue a fine to Ripple. It had something to do with this. What are we dealing with? 10 years ago? They're going to go back into the coffers 10 years? Who knew what was above board or wasn't above board, 2 years ago, let alone 10 years ago? So that might be what they're talking about here. They also warned that if Ripple bid for a national charter bank license, could blur the boundaries between traditional banking activities and the digital asset realm. Well, I hope so. That's exactly what we want. According to the trade group, such a move could extend bank-like activities to the crypto sector without oversight Congress intended when they created the national bank charter. What they're missing here is that the Genius Act already regulates stable coins, right? So, but again, a lot of this right here, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It's ridiculous. But the whole point of this is that what they're really worried about is competition. They're very worried that Ripple is going to be competing sort of against them. And again, it's institutional side of the house, right? They didn't have any opposition when Ripple purchased, acquired Hidden Road, and all the big players are there, right? What about Ripple custody? So the fact that banks can now custody crypto or can allow crypto to be sold by the banks and whatnot, that's going to be a big one. We've already seen two huge banks come forward. One of them was JP Morgan Chase. The other one's Citi. Two of the largest 5 banks that exist out there. I can imagine that Bank of America will roll something out. Probably you'll see something from Wells Fargo. But it's going to be a trend because you're either going to play the game because they can charge fees, right? They can charge fees for custody. They can charge fees for maybe buying the crypto itself, like with in the case when it comes down to JP Morgan Chase Bank has an agreement in place with Coinbase, and what they're going to do is instead of them setting up their own exchange, they're going to allow you to take a credit card and then go ahead and buy crypto directly, through some association. We'll have to wait and see how that looks. But again, this is a huge development, and Jeff and I have always said, look, whether you like banks or not, for normal people, it's not easy. The first time you were going to go buy crypto wasn't the easiest pill to swallow. I know many of you are more technically advanced, so it was like, yeah, no big deal. I had to do a couple things. But for most people, it's not an easy thing. It's very complicated. So I think that takes a little bit of the unknowingness out of it, and also some trust, because they do trust their bank. Now, I would like to see the FDIC ensure crypto deposits or purchase, that maybe is custodied, maybe not necessarily through the bank, but up to $250,000 will give people even more peace of mind. So today marks a pretty interesting anniversary. 5 years ago today, Michael Saylor's strategy bought, well, then it was called MicroStrategy. It's now called Strategy, bought Bitcoin for the first time ever at a price of $11,500. If you guys remember, he was called crazy. He was called, nut job. He was called like what's wrong with them? They wanted to oust him out of the company. They didn't understand. Today, they hold 628,791 Bitcoin with a $28 trillion unrealized profit. Is that a trillion? 1,000 million trillion. Yeah, 28 trillion. So from 11,500 into the hundreds. Okay, so and you got a dollar cost average, but again, he was the first one that pulled the trigger on this. Now you see treasuries everywhere in companies that are pulling the trigger. Now you have right on the heels of this, we have none other than your top Ivy League colleges here, universities in the U.S. You have are betting on Bitcoin here. You got Harvard and Brown University both purchase 140 million worth of Bitcoin ETF shares. Okay, so again, you can see the tide is turning, and then what these ETFs are going to be coming out, including XRP. There's 18 of them planned. I heard as many as 22, but 18. The same way the price pumped for Bitcoin, we're going to see that happen with the XRP ETFs as well. So it's something to kind of keep an eye on for sure. What's up, XRP Plumbing? Good to see you. Texas Credit Unions are custody crypto now as of yesterday. That's very cool to know. Where can you pay right now for the XAO DAO? It's not launched yet, so that's why I recommend to go to XAODAO.io and put your email in there. That way you'll hear when it launches. It's scheduled to launch late August, early September, somewhere in that time frame. The X Space tomorrow, which is going to be an hour long, I believe half an hour long, that Jenna and I will be sort of co-hosting. We'll have Fabio and Santiago, the two co-founders from XAO DAO, and they're going to take questions. So if you want to show up and ask a question, I would recommend you show up and ask a question at $10 right now. It hasn't officially launched, and then we're just going to be fielding some questions right there for tomorrow. So there you have it. Marx has 100,000 a bonk, so I figured I'm kind of like Sailor, just saying. Yeah, kind of. Jim D says they will charge us a minimum Ponzi inflation avoidance fees for bypassing the traditional Ponzi currency system. Yeah, I hear you on that one, Jim D. People are always talking about the Fed cutting the rates. I'm like, you guys are having the wrong conversation. You need to cut the Fed out of it. That's what you need to do. The Fed has to go away. There is no golden age with a debt-ridden tool that enslaves every American since 1913. There's only one path forward, and it's deleting the Fed. So I love the fact that they just keep stepping in it. We saw the inflation rise in 2021, and they didn't raise rates, right? So you can see that it's all politically motivated. And then you've got the lowest inflation coming down to 2%, under 2%, they won't cut the rates. You cannot have a third party, which is basically unaccountable to anybody, and like, oh, they're independent. Are they? So they're making the rules for everybody? It's a joke. The whole thing is an absolute 100% joke. There's only one path forward, and I would like more and more people to get on that train, more people get vocal about it. I know Trump, I really do feel like he will be able to do something. He might be able to bring it into Treasury, but the ultimate goal here is, can you imagine an audit? How is you look at the fiduciary responsibility for any public company that has to do rigorous reporting every quarter, annual reporting, put out 10Ks. Like you have whole groups of people that are just dedicated to putting these numbers, double checking them. You have CPAs putting this together. But we have the Federal Reserve. Since 1913, it's never been audited. Now, what do you think would happen if an audit happened? Do you think it's going to all be on the up and up? Unchecked for over 100 years? Sure. I'm sure everything is perfect. I think we'll find a lot of fraud. I also think what we'll find is, maybe not all that debt we're really responsible for. And if they do find fraud, who is responsible? And were they money printing and giving it to other people, going out the back door? I mean, there's a lot of things that could have been going on. I'm not saying it has. I'm just saying that, how do we know? The only way we know is to audit the Fed. It's the only way we're going to find out. So now we're going to shift a little bit into some geopolitical topics here. We'll get a little bit into, let's see, where is this? I'm going to put this up. Why is this all over the place here? Let me see. Got to go through these stories. So we're going to start off with in the UK tonight. This is a great account that I follow here, but it's just such a powerful sentence. Britain needs its own 1776 before it fully becomes Britainstein. This is an absolute true thing. But when the redcoats march in a straight line and never get out of order and never revolt, I mean, what you're seeing a lot right now in the UK, people are fed up. They're fed up. They've had it up to here, and people want to use the words racism and this and that. No, what they're upset about is that there's two systems of justice. Somebody else can go ahead and rape a young girl, and they get put in prison like they should. Otherwise, anybody else does it, oh, you're racist. So basically, there's a pass. People are coming in illegally, Same thing that happened here in the U.S. They're having their Joe Biden moment where they're welcoming illegals in. Keir Starmer is talking out both. So that's why they call him two-tier stare or two-tier Keir, because he's always talking out the side of his face. One side says, "Oh, we're controlling it." The other side letting them in nonstop, which is an absolute joke. And so it's actually quite amazing how the world works. The country that we once needed to gain our freedom from and rid ourselves of their tyranny now needs it done to them so they don't get destroyed from within. And, there's been plenty of people that have gone, patriots gone before us, that said, we will get destroyed from within. It'll never be an outside force. It'll always be within. And we started seeing this happen. We've seen this take place over the last 8 to 12, 15 years, where the leadership, the deep state, all this stuff is taking place. And we're seeing this happen, firsthand. Let me go ahead. I think I have a video queued up over here. Let me see. Let me look here. Looking forward to Jeff being back. That's going to be a lot of fun. This is Thatcher talking about immigration. Listen to this. And, you remember how she was demonized. She literally saved the economy. She turned everything around. My God, she was villainized. She was destroyed left and right. Oh, my God, how they hated Margaret Thatcher. But she's probably, one of the most probably poignant prime ministers for for Great Britain that's ever happening in the UK there. So here we go. Listen to this.
Regards to the Vietnamese boat people, those who are genuine refugees, and that is determined again by the United Nations, will not be returned. Those who are illegal immigrants will be returned. And it is customary international law for countries to receive their own immigrants back into their country. And if the right honourable gentleman is suggesting that we ever get to a position when you cannot return illegal immigrants to their country of origin, then he is proposing international chaos.
I mean, Parliament's so weird to me. First of all, if this happened in the U.S. and there was all that chatter in the background, order would be called, right? Hit the gavel, call order. Like, you have to be respectful of people. They don't care. They start talking, chatting. I mean, this is like, nothing's really changed over there. They just kind of go about their business. But, look at this. How many years ago was this? 30 years ago? 40 years ago she's saying this? And we're right back there. We're right back with the same conversation. They were getting upset that she was saying that. Just a joke. It's incredible. Yeah, that's also true. It started taking place in 1913, and then after 9/11, you had the Patriot Act. Yeah, the Patriot Act. Don't even get me started on that. XRP plumbing. I'm going to go down a long rabbit hole that I wasn't prepared to go down tonight. But you're absolutely 100% right. Give a little bit of freedom. Who was it that said? Was it Ben Franklin? If you give up you're willing to give up freedom for a feeling of security, you don't deserve either. It was something like that. I'm paraphrasing. I think it was. Jim D says there's 22 trillion cash assets missing in action on the Treasury books that is speculated to be given to deep state agents and security apparatus, including building underground nuke shelters for the elite. Yeah, I've heard stuff like big cities underground. I've heard the same thing you've heard there, Jim D, but 22 trillion cash assets missing in action. So at auditing the Fed, and you're going to see a major struggle. That's why I don't see this is going to happen until after the midterms. So the gerrymandering that all the Democrats are upset about, crying, oh my God, they're going on all the Sunday shows today going, I can't believe it. You already gerrymandered the hell out of your states, okay? Don't pretend that, and this is threatening democracy. It's moving democracy. Well, why did you gerrymander your states? Why isn't Massachusetts and there's like 6 other states that don't have one Republican representation? Gerrymandering. Yes, they're liberal states, but even New York has some Republicans, and that's a heavy blue state. But if you gerrymander, put these weird kind of maps, you're going to get the same sort of type of thing. So that's what you're going to end up with. And that's absolutely right. History does repeat. If you don't learn from your history, you're doomed to repeat and learn. Keywords today for the passive anything. Safety is the keyword for anything done safely. Right. This, I'll be honest with you. I was thinking about this today because happened to be in a restaurant today where I looked out on the floor and I saw one of those old 6 foot, stay 6 feet apart. I'm like, I thought back in that, I'm like, who in their right mind of any normal functioning human being on planet Earth, believe the science, would think that's keeping 6 foot distance would somehow magically stop an airborne virus, and wearing a mask where you're breathing through it, and people have smoke, you see smoke coming through there. But you're going to be able to breathe in, and the micron of a so-called virus is smaller. It can fit in there, but no, the mask is going to stop. I really thought at that time, was I living in crazy town to think that these people, and then you're going to get a vaccine that's going to stop the virus, but change the definition at the CDC. No. It could prevent. Now, the funny thing is, I always ask people, people would say, you're anti-vaccine. You're one of those anti-vaxxers. I'd be like, I have all the childhood, the early childhood, not the 75 they give the kids today. But I have my polio. I didn't get polio. I have a polio vaccine. It was developed over many years. And you know what? I always ask them, did you get your polio booster? And like, no. Why is that? Well, because I got the vaccine. Right, because it was a vaccine. It prevents polio. And that's the whole point of it. It actually works. Not like, and then people got sicker and sicker, and I'm not going to devolve into that conversation about that. But Mark Carney, the new Prime Minister of Canada, look at this guy. This guy is an epic loser. Installed, not elected. Here we go. Look at this. I promised everything. I delivered nothing. I blame Trump. There it is. There it is in a nutshell. It's just shocking to me. I love Canada. I love the people up there. And what a weird, crappy-ass government. Now, I came across this headline. Honestly, I don't know if it's real. And I almost don't even care at this point, because who cares? Because it was a headline on CNN, and they make up stories all the time. I actually hope it's true. I think it's actually pretty funny. But check this out. This is the headline that appeared on CNN. Trump moves Obama and the Bush portraits to a hidden stairwell. Now, I don't know where the hidden stairwell is, but I like the sentiment behind this act. It's like, is it like a broom closet? And what are these hidden stairwells? Where is the hidden stairwell? Is there a hidden stairwell that goes underground somewhere? I don't know. But apparently he moved it. One dramatic feature of the White House entryway, the official portrait of former President Barack Obama, has been moved to a decidedly less prominent position, underscoring the years-long tensions between the 44th and 47th presidents. Portraits of other recent predecessors with whom President Trump has contentious relationship, former President George W. Bush and his father, George H.W. Bush, have also been moved. Oh, so he's a bipartisan mover. I see he's bipartisan. He's moved 2 Republicans, and so far we've heard about 1 Democrat. Trump directed staff to move the Obama portrait to the top of the grand staircase. 2 sources familiar. The top of the grand staircase, is that a hidden staircase? In the matter, which told CNN, where it will now be out of view from the thousands of visitors who tour the White House each day. One of the sources added that the portraits of both the Bushes are now also in the staircase area. Multiple sources, they never cite them. So that's why I don't even know if this story is true. But I think it's funny and I like it. I would hope it's true. Multiple sources have said the president is directly involved with with nearly everything that is done to the aesthetic of the White House, big or small. CNN obtained a photo of the Obama portrait hanging at the top of the stairwell in the corner. So let's look. Where is the portrait? And hanging in the corner. They obtained a photo, but they didn't post it. Okay, interesting. Yeah, look at that. They obtained a photo, but it wasn't worth. That's why I don't even know if the story's right. Who don't even know if it's real? But anyway, it is funny. I did have a little bit of a laugh when thinking about this dumb story. But let's go to that stairway to hell. No worries, Charles. It's an easy mistake. It happens all the time. E4 Rockin'. When we were kids, we played in raw sewage. George Carlin. We did all kinds of crazy stuff. Drink out of the hose. I mean, all kinds of horrible things, man. I mean, gosh, it's ridiculous. Jim D, COVID social distant hackers is like hiding from mosquitoes from behind a chain link fence and hoping that it's exactly like that. But I was like really thinking, are we living in crazy town? Like, what's science? There is no science. And then I would pull up peer-reviewed studies on masks and how they don't stop any airborne virus. And I'd be like, oh no. Then magically they would disappear. You couldn't find them on the internet anymore. Luckily I bookmarked them. But all these peer-reviewed studies that show it didn't work, that they're like, well, surgeons wear them. Yeah, surgeons wear them so they don't have droplets of saliva that falls in when they're heading over, right? They don't have anything that falls out of their nose. That's why the surgeons wear them. It's not protecting them. the body from anything. They scrub up vigorously, right? They scrub down. Man, incredible. XRP Plumbing has an idea. It says move those portraits to the men's bathroom, walk up urinals. Okay. Jim D says, yeah, a kid never had fun until he got into a dung-flinging war, cow, horse, or cow mutations. Of course, man. You know, and I remember, this is funny, but I remember when, if you guys remember when, what was the name of that company? Stefan Thomas was the one that founded it. But basically, they started up a blogging program, and based on how many people liked your blog, you could earn XRP. And through that, I earned 5,000 XRP. And one of my, two of my stories that I wrote about, any idea that popped in my head, I just write a story on it. I got to find them. But anyway, one of them was on cow dung. There's this company that will send actual cow dung or horse dung to somebody anonymously. I wrote a whole story on that. I was like, so writing stories like that, and I also envisioned what a new movie, but based on old characters might be, stuff like that. I mean, but the fact that I earned over 5,000 XRP, pretty damn significant. The fact that just writing, you guys probably didn't know about that program, but it was a pretty cool program. I know a lot of people made a lot of XRP through that. Coil, that's it. Thank you, Matt. Matt, thank you for that. Coil, yeah, I was in the Coil blogging program, earned over 5,000 XRP. I love you guys. You guys know everything, man. Everything what's going on. Yeah, they were called jarts, remember? Jarts, you would throw these, they look like giant darts, basically. They had these like big metal ends. You would throw them up. You would put a plastic ring over by the thing, but that was it. You'd throw those at each other and you get hit with it. The jart would stick in you for a little bit, get bloodied, or you threw it up too high. You try to you play a game where you throw it up and try not to get hit by the jart. Pretty rough stuff, man. Pretty rough stuff. Look at this. This is pretty funny here. Trump put this up here. I thought this was a good one about our friend Nancy Pelosi here. He put this up. Frickin' Nancy Pelosi and her very interesting husband beat every hedge fund in 2024. In other words, these two very average minds beat all of super geniuses on Wall Street, thousands of them. It's all inside information. Is anybody looking into this? She's a disgusting degenerate who impeached me twice on no grounds and lost. How are you feeling now, Nancy? Brutal, man. I mean, we've never had a president that talks like this. I mean, we've never had stuff showing up on social like this, and the stuff that the official White House posts on X is just mind blowing. Look at this right here. There's a picture of Trump skydiving, holding up a sign. You got that famous lady in the from the first term screaming no when Trump was elected, and it says 3.5 more years as he's flying it sort of by the window, which I found to be very, very comical. Indeed. Comical indeed. So we got, let's see what else we have here. Video. Let's look what else. Yeah, I wanted to put this up. Michael Rapaport just totally brutalizes Coil. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, Sir John. Were you in that too? I think you were in that too, that Coil program. But it was a great program, man. I was like, one of these days, I'm going to tell a story about how I became a millionaire by writing the stupidest, dumbest blog post known to man. And I'm going to document it. I'm going to say I made 5,000 XRP and I became a multimillionaire. Like, how did you make all your money? Writing. Can I read one of your articles? I guess, show them the one about how you could send poop anonymously to somebody. Sure. Why not? I guess you could. I envisioned Ferris Bueller's Next Day Off, about how that would go, a broker on Wall Street. And then I talk about imagine a story about, how it might pan out. Yeah, I became a multimillionaire because I wrote in some dumb blog program. But here is Michael Rapaport, actor. He used to call Trump all kinds of horrible names, hated him. But no one say he's a huge Trump fan, but I think he did vote for Trump. But I think he sort of gradually started seeing how loony the left was, especially after what happened on the October 7th. With the attack from on Israel. I think he got really swayed his mind on what was going on, liberal versus conservative. But he toasts Mandani here, who's running for mayor. Now listen to this. Some bad language, I'm just going to say. Not me saying it, but Rapaport. I like to listen to his tirades. I find them funny. So here we go.
Close. We're this close to having Zoran the moron become mayor of New York City unless you motherfuckers wake up. This bullshit artist, 2-bit terror supporting rich Nepo baby con artist is shoveling shit, throwing shit at you, and motherfuckers are eating it up. This socialist communist fraud is leading the polls to become mayor of New York City. This guy is exactly what he pretends to be against, and never had a real job in his life. Silver spoon, born with a silver spoon, so far up his keister. That's why he's always smiling so much. I'm Zoran the moron. What the fuck are you smiling so much? That bullshit, perpetual, fake fucking grin. Can't believe this guy is leading. I can't believe this guy is leading the polls to become mayor of New York City. What a fucking insult. And you're eating the bullshit he is shoveling down your throat like a 50-cent hot dog from Papaya King. And I guarantee you Zoran has no idea what a 50-cent hot dog from Papaya King tastes like, because he's not from New York. He's not from New York. He's not a New Yorker. He doesn't think like a New Yorker. He doesn't walk like a New Yorker. He doesn't talk like a New Yorker. Have we lost our ability to sniff out bullshit? This used to be like the number one trait. New Yorkers could sniff out bullshit. Have we lost our ability to sniff out bullshit? This motherfucker is this close to becoming mayor in Gracie Mansion. If he wins, he's going to break your heart like the fucking Boston Red Sox broke New York's heart in 2004. Wake the fuck up. November is right around the corner.
I don't think he likes Zoran the moron. That's what I'm going to assert. I'm going to think he doesn't like him. I don't know. He's not wrong. I mean, you know, he's a special, funny way of saying it, but Zoran the moron, that has got to catch on. Zoran the moron. I love that. That's pretty funny. In other news, man, I just, in other news, we're going to talk a little bit about Tulsi Gabbard. She was talking about the historic peace deal. Man, this got zero. We didn't hear anything about this. It was, I don't know where this has been on the news. At least I haven't seen it. But she's talking about this historic peace deal. They've been feuding for 35 years.
A truly historic day, and you know, under this president's leadership, this historic peace deal has been truly made into reality. When people actually go back and look at the history, you hit the high points there. These two countries have been in some form of conflict, sometimes very bloody, other times a very tense situation where conflict could spark out again at any moment for over 35 years. So for this event to happen today again, President Trump said in some of his remarks today that his aspiration, his greatest aspiration as president, is to bring about peace and stability. This is yet another example of his effective leadership that brought these two leaders together in a way that hasn't happened before. And I can tell you there was a lot of work that led to this moment. This wasn't something that just happened overnight. Again, when you look at over 35 years of conflict, under President Trump's leadership, he encouraged and helped move along this ongoing negotiation between these two leaders and their countries that led to this truly historic and great event.
Pretty amazing. And silence from the media, the mainstream media anyway. And then this is President Trump after they went ahead and signed this historic peace deal. This is him with the president of Azerbaijan. Listen, listen to this. This is classic Trump right here. He's showing him around his office. He's showing him his hats. Check this out.
They love this for your wife.
Oh, yeah.
Scarf. Good
Great.
stuff.
Thank you.
Can you put the key in here, whoever's taking it? That's important not to lose that.
Yeah.
Do you have your key?
No.
Okay, good. I had this one for you, but I like that box better.
Yeah.
I had that one for you. You know, you're not allowed to run them. So, because I'm 28 points higher than anybody.
Yeah.
Everybody wants me to run, but
Including us.
You know, it's funny.
Did you hear that? Everybody wants me to run in 2028. He's got a Trump. He's showing the president of Azerbaijan the Trump 2028 hat. And what's funny about that is he goes, everybody wants me to run. I'm 28 points up, and he goes, and the president says, including us. I'll back that up a little. This is pretty good.
Points higher than anybody.
Yeah.
Everybody wants me to run, but
Including us.
You know, it's funny. So this drives me crazy. Look, 4 more years. Say go 4 more years. So it's sort of
He's
cool.
laughing. This is fantastic.
Fellas, come on, grab what you want. That's okay.
you go visit the White House and you get a bunch of merch. You know what I mean? A bunch of Trump merch. You can wear it back on the plane. You know, Trump 2028, 4 more years. I mean, it's just phenomenal. He's like, including us. We want you to run again too. This is the second historic. He had the one in Africa. He's got this one. I mean, it's incredible, man. I mean, what a great first 200 days it has been. Zoran is a Slavic name. Zora means down. Zoran is the one born at dawn. Okay. I like Zoran the moron. That rhymes. That's nice. No Christmas for moron. Zoran the moron. I love that, man. That's very good. Thank you for the lesson there on the Slavic name there. Appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Let's see what else we have. Let's go to the Yeti. Guys, we have 4 people in the Yeti drawing. This is great odds. 1 in 4 chance. Guys, type in Yeti, would you please? I mean, this is remarkable that you guys have not done any of this yet. I don't know what to say, guys. But this is, you could win. Let me go ahead and put Zuberi up here on the screen so you guys can check out Zuberi. Zuberi is the name of this badass Yeti. And there he is right there. Hang on a second. I post him up on the screen. There he is. His name is Zuberi. Zuberi, and he is a blue tribe. He is a Titan, and he is ready for battle. He is battle ready. Look at that. So let's see what the let's see. Blue tribe, got blue eyes, his helmet, sword, rocky background, Titan. So he is 16% rarity on that bit of it. So there you have it, guys. Type it in. I want to see you guys. Somebody win this. We got 9. Okay, it's getting better. We are getting there. We are absolutely 100% getting there. Starting to turn into something good. And let's see. What else did I want to do here? I think I had another video to play. Oh, so this is 2 things that I wanted to. First of all, as I always say, hashtag liberalism is a mental disorder. I fully believe that people are out of their minds. Like it's all about feelings, like, and outrageous feelings. Like, you know, we get mad. I mean, it's so funny. Someone will talk to me. I hate Trump. I'm like, yeah, okay. He's an asshole. Great. I don't care. I really don't care. They go, he's the biggest jerk ever lived the planet, and I hate him. And great. But if you start talking about Trump, or you start talking about politics, my God, they're just like that vein, and their head starts bubbling and about ready to pop, and they get all mad and angry. So this is what I'm talking about. Here's a valedictorian. I don't know the school. I'm assuming it's a high school, but a valedictorian, could be a college, who knows. But this is a valedictorian that this is her speech. She gets up there, and you have to, you know, you're the smartest person in the school. So the smartest, I don't know what smartest person from this school means, but look at how brave and just how incredibly daring this is. Listen to what she says here.
Use my language, but to that I say fuck ICE and fuck the Trump administration.
They're all clapping. She's all serious. F ICE and F the Trump administration. And look at the knucklehead behind her. Oh, yes. You've learned well. We've indoctrinated you in a great way. Look at this. Look at him clapping over here. Look at this. Look at him start clapping. Oh. Yeah. Can't believe she said it. Stunning. So brave. Incredible. And listen to the crowd. I mean, what kind of school? Where is this school? I don't know where this school is. F-ICE.
Language, but to that.
Excuse my language. I'm going to say the F word twice here. F-ICE and F Trump. Man, stunning, brave. Just what a display. What a display. Never share. Nelson says, never share your thoughts on politics or religion to others. Oh, yeah. You can always share it. It doesn't end up well. Poor thing is so brainwashed, says Sir. Oh, no, that's Art. Sir John says, hating the most successful is the pivot of the socialist thoughts. There you go. Yeah. Baby clips. I don't have any baby clips. I always have baby clips. I didn't find any good ones. Nothing that I could really share. I might have to play the Howard Dean one again since that's so good. But listen, this is a real this is an actress, and she has a podcast, and she's serious. Listen to what she says about white people going to certain kinds of restaurants. This is the definition of liberalism is a mental disorder. Listen to this.
Had it with white people that triple trumped, that have the nerve and the audacity to walk into a Mexican restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, an Indian restaurant, go to perhaps their gay hairdresser. I don't think you should be able to enjoy anything but Cracker Barrel. And if you want to triple Trump and you want to browbeat DEI and you want to browbeat gay people and you want to browbeat black people as you've been doing for 400 years and you want to browbeat.
This woman does not know her history. Let's go back to the Civil Rights Bill in Congress. Who was the one that stifled it? That's right. It was the Democrats. Who was the racist in the White House saying ends will vote for us for the next 100 years? That's right. These people who, the Jim Crow laws, I mean, like they've twisted history so much they don't even know what's going on. But Republicans for over 400 years, first of all, the term Republican hasn't been around that long. And Lincoln was the first technically sort of Republican. These people are out of their minds. They're insane. She doesn't think that a white person, listen to this, I triple voted Trump. There you go. Yes, tick. But I'm not allowed. By the way, I had Mexican yesterday and I had Japanese today. Just saying. I'm just letting you know. But she doesn't think I only have to eat a Cracker Barrel, right? I don't know what the logic is behind that and why. And so how somehow we're racist against black people. More black people voted for Trump this time than any other time in history. Almost a record, right? I mean, if you eliminate some of the stuff in the 60s, but you know how many people voted, how many blacks voted for Trump, how many Asians voted for Trump, but I'm the white guy and I'm not supposed to be out. This is insane. This isn't some insane logic that I should be going to Cracker Barrel. By the way, I don't even like Cracker Barrel. Their breakfast is okay, but this is what she thinks. Browbeat this generation. So this is her logic. I shouldn't be able to be able to go to and visit my gay hairdresser because we beat gay people. First of all, there are more gay people than at any time in history that voted for a Republican. Okay? So she doesn't even have her facts right. And that's one of the reasons they lost, because they're so out of touch with the with reality.
This generation of immigrants that come over here and open up businesses earnestly, pay their taxes, you want to demonize them and call them rapists.
No, we want them to come in legally and come in the right way. That's what we want. We love legal immigration. We look forward to legal immigration. We want the best and brightest coming here, and we want them to assimilate, just like any country wants. Every country wants that, right? You don't want people coming into Croatia that aren't going to respect, Croatia and its laws and its amazing culture. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to go in the UK, disrespect it, and not assimilate, not learn the language. No. Language, culture, borders is what defines a country. Those are and if you start disrespecting them, then nobody wants you in their country. This isn't something in the U.S.
Felons and all this shit when the felon is the teeny weeny mushroom cock piece of shit, Kankle's McTaco tits at the top of the ticket. I have fucking had it from top to bottom. White people that triple Trump should be banned, boycotted from enjoying the best thing that America has to offer, which is multiculturalism. Get your fat asses out of the Mexican restaurant. Get your fat asses over to Cracker Barrel, because nobody wants to see your fucking smug ass, teeny weeny, pink arm, big gut around. Nobody wants to see that shit. No one.
Tell you who wants to see that shit. The people that own Mexican restaurants, they love seeing that shit. They hope more of those white people come in there and eat the food. That's what they hope. I mean, this is insane. I don't even understand what's going on with these people. They're absolutely out of their mind. Yeah, such an angry woman. I mean, anger, and it's like, I hate Trump. I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to point out how, in Nepalese, Indian, and Mexican cooks are cooking Italian restaurants is cultural appropriation. It's a good point. That's right. Is Nepalese, Indian, Mexican cooks cooking in Italian restaurants cultural appropriation? Oh no. No. It's only if it's white people. Sorry, Sir John. You lose. Yep. That's what I was referring to. LBJ said we'll have them ends voting for Democrat for the next, I think it was 50 or 100 years. That's what he said. It's on tape if you want to listen to it. Trump voters are the best tippers. That's another good point. It's a very good point. The total non-history lesson by this previous trophy wife. Previous, not like but previous. Now a box trophy in the attic, but somehow covered online. Yeah, I don't know. They have something to say. Yeah, that's let's see. Art wonders if she's a lesbian. I don't know. I really don't know. Democrats equal most racist in 1800s and plantation owners. Republicans equal freed the slaves. Well, that's what you know. God, well, I don't understand you, John Doe. How is it you know your history? What are you talking about? You and your history lesson over here. Oh, okay. That was UCLA valedictorian. Thank you for that. So that was college. Oh, that's so stunning and brave. Thank you for that, Charles. UCLA valedictorian. Wow. Well, good luck. I guess you're not going to go work for any Republican companies anytime soon. So, Sir John saying, why are liberals so impolite? Always swearing and cursing. That is so true. Waffle. God bless America. There you go. It's like that taco truck where the Mexican dude says the tacos are great. And there you have it. There you have it, people. There you have it. Wanted to go over, I got a couple of, let's see, what do we got here? Yeah, I got some Babylon Bees to hit. And then I've got this. I always like these quotes by Thomas Sowell. If you guys not read any Thomas Sowell, I recommend him highly. He's one of the best conservative legends that we have. He says this. He says, no political message has proven to be more welcome in countries around the world, in both democratic and undemocratic nations, and among people of every race and culture than the message that your problems are not your fault, but the fault of others. And it is they who must change, not you. Thomas Sowell. This guy's phenomenal. Yeah, it's not, this is what they always preach. It's like, oh no, you don't have any personal responsibility. That's the other thing too. You know, the big definition, or I guess the sort of defining statement would be that the Democrats, the left, is always victims. Somebody else, and on the right, you go back to the founders of the country, and it was all about self-preservation, self-sustaining. It comes from the individual, my individual efforts, being better as best I can be. You know, it was all sort of this individualized freedom versus a groupthink. So the people that are all brainwashed and groupthink and told what to say, yeah, that's pretty much what goes down on the left. So, guys, we have 13 in here. Somebody has a 1 in 13 chance of winning a badass Yeti. So there you go. When you have a weak argument, says Art, you yell louder. That's true. You just get angry. And she started with the obscenities and this and that, and your tinies. And it always comes to personal attacks, too. That's the one thing. They can't ever have an argument without bringing personal stuff into an argument, because they just don't have anything. They don't have any new ideas. They don't work, you know, Rush Limbaugh always said they never compete in the arena of ideas. They don't. Just yell at stuff, angry at stuff. This stuff should be fixed, straw man. But they're never come out with like, hey, this is how it's going to work. This is what I'm promising. No, there's none of that. So let's go ahead. Let's go pull the trigger. We've got 13 in here. That's enough. It's a very low amount. Somebody has a really good shot at winning a badass Yeti tonight. Let's see who it's going to be. Let me go ahead and put some music on here so we can listen. Let's see. What do we got?
Risky?
Is it risky? No, it's not risky. Let's see.
On the chain.
Okay, here we go, people. Let's go ahead and pull it. Ready? Hang on. Let me put it on. Ready? Let's go. May the best person win. Go. The chain. Yetis. Art on the Art. Cash Velocity wins. Man, I almost called it too early. Cash Velocity, are you in here? If you are in here, I need to hear from you that you are here. So please say that you are here. Oh no, Charles is here. Charles can win as long as he hasn't won it within 30 days. Rush. Let's go. New Charles, new Yeti. Dang, I thought you had that too, man. I always hate that too. It just stops. There it is. No messing around. Cash Velocity is on it, dude. He doesn't even say he was here. He just had the wallet address ready. All right, man. Let me go ahead and grab that. I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to grab that because for some reason, I don't know what it is, but I can't grab it in this program, but I will grab it right here. And I got to also notate the, let's see, this is a blue tribe. I'm in the wrong sheet here. There we go. Let's go. What is the number of this badass Yeti? I don't even know if I know what it is. Let's see. Oh, wow, this is weird. All right. Let me see what this badass Yeti is. That's badass Yeti 49. He won badass Yeti Blue Tribe number 49, and that was run. Cash velocity. Here we go. Give me your wallet address. Go grab it one more time here. Let's see. All right, so get your. Let me go ahead and scan this puppy, and I'm sending it off to you, man. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. Gotta go ahead and scan it. We'll be ready to go. Let's see here. Bam. Verifying, man. It's verifying. It is verifying right now, and pretty soon we will see something very cool. Boom. Submitted successfully. There it is. So you now are the proud owner of this badass Yeti right here. The name, Zuberi. The mission, total destruction. Let's go ahead and put him back up there one more time. Congratulations, Cash Velocity. Awesome win. Here we go. There he is, Zuberi. There he is, ready to rock, ready to do some destruction. You got to love that, man. You got to love it. So beautiful, beautiful. Oh, DNI's in here. Beautiful, man. Off-topic question. Crypto, has ZBCN come across anyone's radar these days? Sort of reminding me of how XRP was in 2018 or so. I'm not familiar with the DNI. I'm not familiar with it at all. Never even heard of ZBCN. I don't even know what that is. So I do not know. No, I don't know anything about it. Nobody's bitching about rigged. You're bitching about it right now. There you go. Yeah, absolutely, Cash. Beautiful. He may not be a psychopathic. He's bent on destroying anything he comes across. Mostly liberals. I'll just say that. They're not fond of him. DNI says, I held a decent bag of ZBCN. Could be a telecoin of this bull run. What's it trading at right now, the ZBCN? What is the what's the trading thing? That's weird. I've never even heard about it. Good show tonight. Thanks for everything. And all the OTC people, fam, that showed up. I'm curious about that. I got a couple more stories to run through here. And then we'll get out of here. We will get out of here. I got some Babylon B stories, which are always kind of fun. And then we will be done. We'll be out of here. Moving on. Moving on, people. All right, here we go. What is it? What is the, 0.005. Interesting. Okay. Very good. That sounds like and where do you, is it on Z? I got to write that thing down. ZB, what is it? Oh, ZBAC. Gotcha. ZBAC. Gotcha. I've heard of ZBAC. Okay. I don't know anything about it though, from a point of view, if it needs to do anything. Need to go. Got to go to work. Beautiful, man. Excellent. 0.0051. Beautiful. Solana X. Okay, the XADP CEO board member on ZBAC. Okay. Yeah, I've heard the name sort of bantered about. A couple last stories, then we'll get out of here. WNBA warns if you throw anything on the court, you'll be forced to attend 10 more WNBA games. The Babylon Bee does not miss. They are just fantastic. Walmart responds to Sydney Sweeney's ad with a commercial featuring a sexy dad in cargo shorts. Bill has great shorts. Wah, wah, wah. There you go. Then the fake Indian, Warren, Elizabeth Warren, endorses the real Indian, Zoran the Moron. So you've got Pocahontas endorsing Zoran the Moron. Gotta love it. You got to love it. And then one more banger here. Texas begins construction on a northern border wall to keep Democrat lawmakers from returning. And on the sign on the wall, it says, Democrats stay out, with 2 skulls on there. There you have it. There you have it, everybody. At 50, I'd be happy to heart attack. So rather not. Yeah, beautiful. Have you seen the Trump Great Genes? Yeah. I played that here. I played that the other night. Here, DNI says they do streaming payroll in real time. When you work, you get paid by the minute, hour, day, however it's programmed. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, Ripple could do that too. They can stream payments too, but I don't really know anything more. That seems like I hope there's more features to it, but who knows why anything would go up. Anything go up for any reason. So great, guys. Really appreciate you guys. I am out of here. Jeff will be back on Wednesday night And we'll do another fun show, and I'm glad to have him back. It's always great having him here. Never fun doing, pulling duty here where you got to do everything yourself. It's always a pain in the ass. So as we, that's all we have tonight. And Chip and Jeff soon to be on here. We are out of here. Chip, out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.